Welcome to episode 6 of the One and One College Basketball Podcast. I'm Justin Albaum here with Logan Kamalhar, and we have a very special guest today. His name is Ricky Lindo Jr. If you guys don't know who he is, he's a college basketball player, currently plays at George Washington University, averaging 10 points per game, 8 rebounds. How you doing today, Ricky?
I'm doing good. How are you guys?
We're good.
Good.
So to get right into it, I love this question, and I'm excited to ask all my guests this question. Why basketball? Who inspired you to pick up a basketball?
Might sound cliche, but actually Kobe Bryant was one of the first people I've ever watched playing basketball. And ever since then, I fell in love. Might sound cliche, but it's the truth, honestly.
Awesome.
That's a great answer. So as you start playing basketball, you go through elementary school, middle school, high school, and then you make a decision to go to Maryland. But before that, you were planning on possibly going to prep school for a year and then weighing your options. What made you decide to then choose Maryland after that?
Honestly, I visited Maryland, and I just fell in love with the campus, the players that were there at the time, the coaching staff. And I saw a real opportunity to play right away. So I want to take advantage of that open roster spot. And I don't know if you guys know, but my freshman year is probably a great year I had. Probably not a great year, I had a great year. I was playing well, great defensively. So, I didn't see a problem with it. So I thought it was the best. And also came in being the youngest player on the team, which really helped me a lot, helped me grow, helped me learn stuff. So I don't think I would have learned if I had gone prep school. So it was great to be able to do that at such a young age.
Yeah, for sure. Was Maryland a dream school for you? Did you feel that was your best offer on the table, or what was that process like?
Maryland was actually a dream school for me. It was always Maryland and Georgetown. I grew up in DC. I'm from DC, so it was always Maryland and Georgetown. At the time, Maryland was really on me, so I went to Maryland, obviously. But at the time, it wasn't really my best. It wasn't the top offer, but it was a dream school. I saw a great opportunity to play right away, so I took it. And it was close to home. My mom loved it. My parents went to every single home game.
Of course.
So it was great. So I had no complaints whatsoever.
That's awesome. So you go into that freshman year, and honestly, your team was pretty stacked. You have guys like Bruno Fernando, Anthony Cowan, Jalen Smith. I mean, these are NBA caliber players. What was it like learning from them, knowing that it felt like to me that their game is almost pretty similar to yours. So how did that feel learning from such high caliber players?
I learned a lot from Bruno Fernando. He was probably like one of my closest friends. He was like an older brother to me, the older brother I never had. And then we were roommates on the road, every single road game. So just learning what he did before prepare for road games, important road games, was great for me. And guys like Sticks and Ant, Ant was always a great leader, a great, how would I say it? He led by example. So I love that from him. Sticks, we were both freshmen at the time, so we were both learning. But learning from him how to become a pro, how to manage that. I was able to learn a little bit about that the 2 years we were there together. But it was just a great experience being around those guys. And obviously Eric, Ayala, and Aaron Wiggins were older than me. So learning from them how they carried themselves on the court and off the court was great. It was great.
Mm-hmm. And then your sophomore season, you returned. Most of your team, you had a lot of your guys back. You make a run, you win the Big Ten. How did that feel, knowing you accomplished all of that?
That was a great accomplishment. Not everyone in college basketball can say they won the regular season championship, especially in the Big Ten. It was considered one of the best leagues in the country. My bad. But yeah, doing that my second year was great because we brought back a lot of guys. The only person that really left was Bruno.
Yeah.
But we still had Daryl, we still had Ant, still had Aaron, EA, Sticks. We still had a great core. So it was just a great experience to finally bring it all together and win that championship for Maryland.
Yeah, for sure. unfortunately, that season, COVID comes in. It cuts your season short. In my opinion, I felt like you guys could really win the Big Ten tournament and honestly make a nice push in March Madness. You guys really had stacked roster like that. How did it feel? Knowing that you guys accomplished all this, you guys worked together. It felt like 2 years it was the same team. How did it feel for that season to get cut short and like not losing all that progress, but making all that progress, and then this happens?
It was definitely disappointing, especially after winning. I remember the day they canceled everything. We were sitting in the locker room getting ready for practice, and then the coach just told us to stay in the locker room. We kind of already knew what was going on because I think the Big East had just canceled everything. Mm-hmm. So we kind of already knew. We didn't even get the chance to get on the plane yet. So that was very disappointing. And I just remember sitting next to Anthony Cowan, he was a senior at the time, just seeing the disappointment in his face. I felt bad for him because it was his last year before even the COVID rule was even came into place. And I felt bad for him. So, just gave him a hug, and we all just walked back to our rooms in disappointment, knowing that we could have done a lot. We could have done a lot of good things in the Big Ten tournament and then also in March. So, but it is what it is.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So after that, going to that off season, you were losing Jalen Smith to the draft. Other guys were moving around. So spots maybe for more minutes were opening up, but then you did decide to transfer to George Washington. What was that decision like?
That decision was purely just a basketball decision. I just wanted to go somewhere where I can prove that I can play with the big guys. The A10 is such an underrated conference. They have a lot of good players. Obi Toppin was the third pick just 2 years ago. And we just had Bones, who was drafted in first round, who's putting up numbers right now. A10 is so in the race. So I thought the best way I can do is to come here. Coach Christian I've known him for a while. That's the coach here at George Washington. I know him for a while. I knew he was going to be able to put me in a spot I needed to show off my skills. And I've done that so far. I could do a lot better, but, I'm still working on it. And we're still working on playing all these minutes, not used to it, but still working on it, still improving. And yes, that's basically all it came down to, is coming here and stuff like that.
I'm glad that you mentioned that the A10 is such an underrated conference, because my freshman year, I went to the University of Rhode Island, and they had guys like Fats Russell, who's actually now at Maryland. Yeah. They had a stacked roster. Obviously, Obi Toppin and D. I feel like they could have made a serious run. What was it like? Mm-hmm. So you had obviously Jamison Christie, the head coach. He's a new head coach, and when you were getting recruited there, how has he impacted your game at making it better?
Just a lot of confidence, a lot of trust. He puts a lot of confidence in me and the rest of the guys to just play our games. The offense we run kind of shows how freely we play, stuff like that. And also it gives me a chance to showcase my skills defensively too. Just be able to lock down the players. We have Brennan Adams from UConn who can really lock up too. So he's probably gonna get the best wing player, probably get the best big man or post player. So just a great dynamic just to actually be able to show both my offensive and defensive skills off. So that's mainly why I chose to come here and play for Coach Christian.
So you talked about more minutes on the court and getting used to that, but how is the difference between off the court and the leadership role you have now as a senior, as a starter, versus when you were at Maryland playing behind other guys like Jalen Smith and Bruno Fernando?
Definitely a big difference, a big jump. As soon as I got here, even last year, I was one of the leaders on the team, even though I didn't play the first half of the season because of COVID and the transfer rules. I was still considered a leader, and it's just something that I wasn't used to at first, but then I got the hang of it real quickly because I was always watching Anthony Cowan, Bruno, even Darryl Rosell, who's a great leader. He's doing great up in Marquette right now. So I was able to bring a lot of that influence from Maryland to here. So I think that's helped me a lot.
For sure. As you keep mentioning these guys that you play with at Maryland, do you still talk to them, like reach out to them? Do you critique their game? Do they critique your game? Yeah, they do.
For sure. I definitely talked to Daryl recently. He said he's doing great up there. He loves it. He loves the role he's in. Talked to Aaron. He loves it at OKC. He's trying to get more minutes, trying to play as hard as he can. And I still talk to Eric Ayala, Sorrell Smith too, transferred with me.
Yeah.
So I still talk to those guys. We still keep in contact every once in a while.
That's awesome. Now for the expectations for this George Washington team, and it showed in recent history that George Washington has been a team that's been trying to get back to the NCAA tournament. They haven't been there since 2007. I know that you're a senior. Do you feel like this team can make a run in the A10, the A10 tournament? Do you think this team has that potential? Because the talent's there. I mean, guys like you, Brandon Adams, like you were talking about, the talent is there. Do you think that you guys can make this push in the A10?
Yeah, we still have a lot of things to figure out offensively, defensively, but I think once we do start clicking, we're still early into the season. Once we do start clicking, I definitely feel like we can make a run in the A10, especially even during the regular season and in the playoffs and the tournament. So I think we definitely can. Still a lot of games left to be played though.
For sure.
I have another question about this season. Earlier this season, you guys went back and played Maryland and played very competitively with them. Only ended up losing by 7 points. You were in it. I was actually watching that game. What is it like going back to Maryland and playing there?
I'm not gonna lie, I was nervous walking in there for the first time, walking to the gym, just as a opponent. Like it was just new to me. I was nervous, but like once I saw the old staff in there saying hi, what's up, it felt great. Felt that I honestly didn't think they were gonna remember me, but it was great to feel the love again, and the crowd was amazing. And then after the game, just embracing Coach Turgeon and Eric Ayala after the game was amazing. And for us to be competing against a team like that, who at the time was ranked in the top 25, rightfully so, that's a really good team. And just to be us to be competitive really showed how once we're clicking, we can be really good. But still got a lot of stuff to figure out too.
Yeah, for sure. Another question I want to ask you is that obviously you said earlier, Kobe Bryant is meant a lot to you as a player. What NBA player do you admire your game over? Like, if you had to do a player comparison, or who are you trying to play like, what would be that NBA player?
It's a few players actually. I want to say like more the 3-and-D guys.
Yeah.
Like who I can at the top of my head, probably Paul George when he first got into the league, or Kawhi Leonard when they first got into the league and then developed. Probably I try to emulate my game out there. Jimmy Butler, the hustle guys in the league. Just trying to emulate my game after them, or try to do stuff like they do, or just trying to play as hard as they do. Especially Jimmy Butler. I love how Jimmy Butler plays.
Great player. You're right. Well, you got
What?
Yep.
Yeah. So after this season, you're a senior. You are, I believe, eligible for another year.
Mhm.
What are your plans for the future if you've thought about it already? Maybe you haven't.
I try not to think about it too much, just trying to focus on the now, on the season, on my teammates right now. But like this is just a conversation I have to have with my family, probably some of my old high school coaches, AU coaches, of what I should do in the future. But just trying to focus on it now, what my team needs right now from me right now.
For sure. Another an interesting question I have. Do you have any like pregame rituals or like superstitions that you do before the game? Like you have to do this before a game happens.
Yeah, I have a superstition. I always have to wear my socks inside out during the game and practice. So that's something I've been doing since high school. Something I carried on now. That's probably the only thing. I try not to be super superstitious, because then I overthink it. So, but just the inside out socks. That's really it though.
So similar to that, before a game, you're listening to music. What are you putting on?
Honestly, I don't have like a go-to song or artist. It's just whatever's catchy to me at the moment, whatever my favorite song is at that moment, I'm just listening to it. So that's it's nothing crazy. Right now, I think it's just Little Uzi right now, something from his recent album, but I don't really have like a go-to person or a song.
Fair enough. Lo, you got anything else?
I have no more.
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you so much, Ricky, for coming on the show today. We were really excited to have you. Good luck to you the rest of the season. I know you guys can make a nice run in the A10, and thank you again.
Yeah,
Thank
no
you.
problem. Thanks for having me.
Of course, of course. Good luck to you.
All right, thank you.
Yep.